Hello ladies and gentlemen, my name is Brandon Wynn and this is Critical Failure. So, to continue with the Mordenkainen and Stone of Foes monster statistics and such, sorry I couldn't think of the word, we are now on the Cadaver Collector. It's right after the Bone Claw, and upon reading it I realized that this is actually a construct, not like a creature in armor. Like when I was first reading it, I thought it was like, even though it says that it's a construct, it to me for a moment confused me, as it said that it dons armor. So I thought it was like wearing armor as a creature, but no, I'm just apparently confused. But this monster goes through battlefields, like summoned by very I would say strong-willed people, like a hobgoblin leader, a necromancer, or some sort of like a warlord or something like that, like king possibly, to bolster its ranks, his ranks or her ranks in their army, and collect corpses. And while it's collecting corpses, it can also like while it's impaling it onto its body, it can use those bodies of the recently slain. It can use those specters of those things. So like say it's an orc, it'll use a ghost of that orc to fight for it and for its master of sorts, until it's whisked away back to Acheron after its deeds are done, which these things apparently roam Acheron, just chilling until someone actually summons one, which if you know anything about Acheron, that must be pretty cool. Not for anyone else, but definitely these things. Now, of course, this is a construct, so it doesn't require air, food, drink, or sleep, and it just kind of like picks up these dead people. Like, to what I read, it doesn't necessarily have to be the ones it's killed, but it just like puts it on it, and it could be the ones that it's killed. I might just be misunderstanding, but it'll just pick these guys up until it's just encased in like bones and flesh and sinew and stuff like that, and just use these specters to fight with them. And it says that it could do it indefinitely if given the proper time, which we'll go into that soon. But these things definitely just are terrifying. And I'll show you a picture once I zoom out correctly. So it looks like that, and it's kind of terrifying if you think about it. I'm going to try and show you a better picture once my brightness is a little bit down. Yeah. Like, it's actually really cool looking. And if you notice, like, there's like spears and swords, and these corpses are literally pierced through and through the armor, which I find really cool. But to go into the size, it's a large construct. I thought this would honestly be larger than that. Probably, I don't know. Actually, no, large. Yeah, because I forgot it's 15 by 15 for large. But it's a lawful evil. Has an AC of 17 for natural armor. Now, I would say, depending on how many creatures it has, you could possibly, like, since it has shields that are broken, like, I would say if it has 10 or more shields, it has an like added +2 to AC, because, you know, they're broken and stuff. And then corpses, like, I would have like a shell of sorts, to where it's like, depending on how many corpses you want to have it, like, it has a set amount of HP, like for its like the bodies and stuff. So say it gets like an extra 30 HP, and you have to go through that before you can actually start attacking the construct. You probably should add more HP to that. So say like another 100, just because. And once it's dropped to 50, you have to roll basically attacks with disadvantage to actually hit the target, like the construct itself. If not, you're just attacking the meat shield. So you're still dealing damage, but you're not hitting it correctly. Then once it's down to 75 health, you roll attacks with advantage, like hitting the actual shell rather than the meat case, which I would do. That's really cool to me. I know people would hate that. But its average hit points are 189, sorry, but it's 18d10 plus 90. That's a lot. And its average walking speed is 30 feet. Has a strength of 21, which is +5. That's really strong. Dexterity of 14 plus 2. This thing's pretty mobile. For me and how Ed and I play, like, that's really low, but it's still pretty decent. It has a Constitution of 20, which is a plus 5. Intelligence of 5, understandable as it's a construct meant to do literally just a few things. Wisdom of 11, understandable, and a Charisma of 8. I would have probably put the Charisma at 5 and the Intelligence at 8, not gonna lie. It just seems kind of weird that it's more likely to able to convince someone to do something rather than form an actual coherent language. Its damage immunities, this has a lot, excuse me, are necrotic, poison, psychic, bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing of non-magical weapons that aren't adamantine. Those weapons, holy crap, you need adamantine weapons to attack this thing. Holy crap, like fire can do something, but do your normal weapon attack? Nope. You're just say you have a like a regular short sword dealing 1d6 or slashing and then 1d6 fire, like that 1d6 fire is the only thing hitting it. I'm sorry, unless that's adamantine. If you really want to fuck people over, do that. Condition immunities: charmed, exhaustion, frightened, paralyzed, petrified, and poisoned. That's a lot. This thing can't be like done, but it can be slowed, so that is cool. If you slow it, that'd be really good. Its senses are dark vision to 60 feet, and it has a passive perception of 10. I mean, it's a decent passive perception. It understands all languages but can't speak. I would say that it can't speak, but it does emanate like a droning sound, much like that of what you would hear from like a locust swarm. Like you would hear, like, besides the wings, like you would just hear like a buzzing sound. I would say it'd probably be like a low buzzing sound, like, oh, you know, something kind of similar to the Iron Giant, I guess. I don't know. It's a challenge rating of 14, which is 1,100 or 11,500 experience points, which is pretty insane. This thing can really tear people up, and it doesn't have to be just one. So it can have several roaming a battlefield. At least I would do that. It has magic resistance, so it has saves against spells and other magical effects. Really incredible. So if you want to fireball that thing, I would have it at disadvantage as what I would do, because, you know, I think it'd be really cool. Or at least have it deal less damage. I think fireball is... I don't know how much fireball does. I don't know that spell very well. Excuse me as I take a sip. But one of its abilities, which recharges after a short or long rest, is called Summon Specters. As a bonus action, the Cadaver Collector calls up the enslaved spirits of these slain. Again, like what I was talking about. It gets 1d6 specters. I would say I'd probably do it more depending on how many corpses it has. That's completely up to you. But these specters are without sunlight sensitivity, and they arise in an unoccupied space within 15 feet of the Cadaver Collector. That's really close. And after the specters are spawned, they move on the same initiative count and fight until they're destroyed, which happens after the Cadaver Collector is destroyed. So that's really cool. They can be slain normally through a specter's stats, but that's really cool in my opinion, just how they just can spawn really close to it. Now, I would say, depending on how you want to run your Cadaver Collector at the time, like, do up to 1d12, 1d20. That'd be really cool. I don't see this thing, because it's a large, like, it might have a lot of surface area, but it can only hold, but so many corpses. I would say 1d20 would be suffice, 1d12 probably, because it's very unlikely that it's going to carry any on its legs, so, again, very unlikely. But it has multi-attack. It can, the Cadaver Collector makes 2 slam attacks. 2. It's a melee weapon. It has a +10 to hit, a reach of 5 feet. It's 1 target, and it deals an average of 18 hit points, but it's 3d8 plus 5 bludgeoning. And it has a 16 3d10 average necrotic damage on top of that. So it can really hurt someone if they don't have necrotic as a resistance. And it has another action called Paralyzing Breath. It's a recharge on a die, 1d6 die of 5 or 6. And the Cadaver Collector releases a paralyzing gas in a 30-foot cone. That's, if you aim it right, you could hit an entire party. I'm sorry, but NPCs and all, you could wreck someone. And each creature in that area must make a successful DC 18 con save or be paralyzed for 1 minute. That is just terrifying. Because imagine just being in a party and you're the only guy left out of that, and they are all just sitting there, just paralyzed in, I would say, fear, more or less, but it just paralyzes them, and it's just, they're forced to stay there. And I would say, unless, like, depending if your character is scared of certain things, I would say that the monster could possibly invoke fear, or at least some sort of paralysis for like a few turns, like I would say 2 or 3 turns, depending on like how many corpses are on it. Like if you enter a battlefield and like there's a lot of corpses and your characters haven't been fighting that much, like they just happened onto it and they just kind of look at this, unless they are like immune to fear or something like that, they'll just like kind of sit there, freeze up for like a round or two as it creeps closer. Like it doesn't have to be immediate, like it's just they're forced to like stare or just retch and vomit at the sight of this thing, because I don't think you want to see this. But the paralyzed creature can repeat the saving throw at the end of each turn, and it ends the effect on itself with a success. So that's really cool, just forcing them to kind of like realize that this thing is real, this thing can kill you, this thing has the ability to summon these ghosts, its guts and stuff like that just strewn all over it, and it's just really cool because it's like, you wouldn't want to see that on a battlefield, and just it lumbering towards you. And I would say that it possibly could actually have a weapon of some sort, like its own version of a sword, which could do up to like 1d12 damage, 2d12 damage, basically like a great axe or like a great sword, and just hitting the hell out of someone. Like I think that'd be really cool. So that's one reason why I like the Cadaver Collector. And again, like you can totally have this like being run by multiple, like just in an area. Imagine having a high level party just getting swarmed by 3 of these things, and the specters on top of that, having the 100 hit points added onto it for like the corpses being there with the, with the disadvantage, and then possibly having spells being somewhat close to useless and stuff. Like I think that'd be really cool, just to wreck a party. I think our next creature, I don't know what it is actually. I saw the picture of it. I think it's a choker. I thought it was a roper for some reason. But I'm going to be possibly doing a video later tonight, uploading it early tomorrow morning, like around 3, 4, depending on how fast it'll upload. Because I'm going to be getting off of work at possibly 1 o'clock too. So I'm going to be doing one before I actually hop onto some video games. Going to upload that right after. So be on the lookout for that. I want you guys to start telling me what you guys would like me to start doing, as I plan on possibly making this more than just a D&D channel. Sorry, my guitar just kind of hit my Xbox remote. I'm thinking about doing a little bit of guitar stuff on this. Not very much, as it's still mostly going to be a D&D channel. It's just going to go more into a side thing. I might do some like video game related stuff if I can magically get some stuff done for that, which I think would be cool. But yeah, please just let me know what you guys would like to see, as I'm going to continue the D&D related stuff. I'm still trying to get friends to learn and play D&D. I want to record those sessions of their first playthrough making their character, because it'd be really cool. But yeah, like I don't really have anything else to think of. So again, I'm Brandon Wynn with Critical Failure. See you guys. Thank you for watching. I really wish I could remember that. Wesley, if you're watching, please let me know. Just let me know. I can't remember.